Me too. Hey guys, I'm so sorry we're late. It's like becoming a theme, okay?
It's my fault.
No, it's my fault too. I had to find everything. I've been stuck in like
Everything's my fault this week.
oh
Blame
my god.
everything on me.
Poor
You're a
Stephanie's
bad wicket.
sick. Hey Raquel, Kimmy, Reagan, Crabtree. What the fork? Dee Dee. Thank you. Next. Okay, just be listening. And CCK has to lay down. Sen, Alex, Kimberly. Okay, so I don't want to get. Well, hold on. Let me find
Hey
her a little.
everybody. I'm not going
Do
back
you have
through
her
all of
little
it.
kid? Do you have the little kid picture pulled up, like when she was a little kid?
I have all hold on. Let me
If
go
okay,
through. No, I have
if
all
not,
of them pulled up, but I don't know. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
yeah,
Hold
there's
up.
two of them. Just pick one. It doesn't matter.
Like a
Hi,
black and white,
Rosewater. How you
right?
doing? Yeah, there's a black and white one. That will do. We can just show what she looked like as a kid.
This doesn't look
Um,
like a kid. Does it a drawing?
Hold on a second. I should have labeled them. It's my fault. Here, I'll get it. I forgot. I usually do, and then I'm like going through so fast. I didn't realize there was so much. Like, there's a lot. In this case, is absolutely insane,
Okay, I got
crazy.
one where she's a small child, like has pictures around her in front of her decorated closet, and it says "bug" in the corner.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yep,
That's fine.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's not. I mean, I found
Like
stuff about her child.
Munchausen.
I found stuff about her childhood, but not as much as I would like to have found. But we're gonna be doing a part two. So like, if I find stuff, or I can just edit this, like,
Oh shoot! I gotta
you
find it
know.
again. Hold on.
Do you need me to shut the? Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
all of
So,
these are just pictures. Hang on, I just gotta find it again. I just found it 2 seconds ago.
there
Okay.
it is. Okay.
If
So,
you all have not
uh,
heard this story yet, like buckle up. I had never heard it. I was not privy to this
prepared.
at all.
Yeah, it's
It
so
was just
bad.
shit all over my dad. Could not believe it.
I know. I should have made like an announcement that we were gonna do like the spooky thing, but I'll leave it up and because like I didn't know if we were gonna do it because Stephanie's been really sick. I didn't know if we
This
were gonna start tonight.
this is totally
So
my fault
no,
also because
it's okay.
I was so sick all week. I don't even want to go into it. I'm feeling better now. Thank God. That's all I care about. But yeah, it's she. I didn't know when I was going to be able to go live again. I had no idea. So we're a little bit discombobulated, but after tonight we'll be better and better. Getting our shit
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I did it like she had to like do her real life stuff on top of um trying to do this, but I had like a kind of more free day, so I was able to do a lot of notes and stuff. But we'll definitely be able to get it together a little bit more when we're it seems like when I'm free she's not, when she's free I'm not. That's how it's been lately. So but we will tomorrow, or
I'm
not
going to
tomorrow,
be
next time
free.
we're gonna be,
I'm never taking
yeah.
being healthy for granted again in my
I
life.
know, right? Hey, Kimberly, Bluebird, more than enough, Batty. Hey, okay,
Hey,
so
Daddy.
Lacey Spears, she was born to her parents Tina and Terry, and she was born on October 16th, 1987. She was the youngest of three kids, but her dad was in the Air Force, but not for a lot of her life. Like that Air Force ended up closing down when she was little, and so they ended up going back home to Decatur, Alabama, so he could be closer to his parents. And he was an aircraft mechanic, and Tina stayed home, but they were really sick all the time. The parents were. The mom had that type 1 diabetes, so she was sick like before she had Lacey, and then he had Crohn's disease, and like the mom was always described as cold, and she just didn't. I don't think she really wanted another kid when she had Lacey, from whatever I've
So the
read. She really
mom
didn't.
and the dad both had medical issues when she was little.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And it
Mm.
was real and they like she spent they spent every summer with split up between the grandparents, and every vacation, like they never spent any time at home with the parents on any extra free time. You know what I mean? Hey,
Wow.
Kanio, Kimmy P. So anyways, the dad was also partially deaf, and they just had a lot of issues, and it caused a lot of issues in the family, and in the marriage there
And
was
how
always
many
some kind
siblings
of
did she
issue.
have?
She
You
had
said?
two. There was three kids. There was three
Okay.
kids. She had two siblings.
Was she the middle?
Nope, she was the baby.
The
So
baby. Okay.
every teacher always like always was like talking about how she was the teacher's pet. She had her working. She always offered to help. She just wanted like positive attention. She was always like the first to get in line, the first to listen, to tell other people they got to listen. But she was also had like a violent side. Like she had this best friend. Her name was Mallory, and the mom never really let her go over to her house. They would always come to the friend Mallory's house, and she finally let her go over there. And she came home, went to go get Mallory, got home, and the girl had like marks on her neck where Lacey had pushed her down and grabbed her neck, like almost tried to strangle her, but not quite, like just like held her neck down. So, like, needless to say, that friendship was over. Okay. Like they were in kindergarten. It wasn't like they were.
Wow. And the first time she was allowed to
Yes.
have somebody over,
Yes.
she
The first time, yeah.
strangled them to the point of marks. Oh, wow.
Yes. And she was on the ground and crying and everything. But she had like a weird obsession with dolls. Not like, oh, we're going to play dolls. Like she would literally not leave the house. They were American Girl dolls. She would bathe them. And if they were bad, like hold them underwater. And you're going to see a pattern with this, by the way, which is why it's important. She would yell at them. I don't know. She was just like, oh, it wasn't just like a little girl that loved her dolls. It was beyond that.
Like she treated them like they were human, right?
Yes,
but
beyond, yes.
In a negative way too, like in a positive way, but then in a really negative way too.
Yes, it was like worrisome, but her family did like not say anything about the things that should have been said stuff about, and she always knew that she could get attention by being sick, and I think she got that from her parents.
They were
her
probably
parents.
So sick, they didn't even notice that kind of,
like, yeah, and then yes, it was half deaf,
wow. Yeah.
So everybody always said she was really socially awkward, though. Like she didn't just know how to like play with somebody. It was always like one extreme or the other. And so she got another best friend in the 3rd grade, and her name was Jessica. And they stayed friends for a long time. But in the 7th grade, Lacey showed up really disheveled, upset, scared, to that girl's house, and the mom took her in, and Lacey told the mom that somebody in her house had abused her, like sexually assaulted her. But and they called the cops, but no investigation was ever done. I don't know why. I don't know what what happened. No, she just the mom took her in though for a couple weeks till her mom wanted her back. But so they just like. They were like kind of freaked out because they said that she instantly, like after like a couple days, started calling that mom, and she had her mom.
That mom probably actually paid her attention.
Yes, but she did this to any mom that paid any attention. Like she would like instantly be like calling them mom, and she had a mom, and nobody. I mean, I don't know what went on in her house. There's not a lot out there about it. I found what I could. Like I searched for all day about her childhood just to find a little bit that I found.
And there was nothing from like her mom talking or anything like that.
No.
But you said that she was cold. You found that she was like,
yes, I found
not
several
super
reports.
loving and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. So, I guess like, I don't know, after when nothing happened with the investigation, I guess like she just like kind of just went back to her socially awkward self, and until she was like 14. Then she joined a church baseball team and started going to church, but her parents didn't go. So this lady named Paula would drive her to the church, and she started calling her mom. Like after a couple of times of her driving, she started calling her mom, like, and really treating her like she was her mom, right? It was super uncomfortable for her because, she knew she had a mom, and she just met Lacey through church. Like, it's not like she knew her because, when you're younger, you could call your friend mom's mom too.
It was so soon that it like caught the people off guard enough that they were like, they talked about it later. on. You know what I mean? It
Yes,
wasn't. It was
yes.
like weird at the time. Not even
It's something
looking
that
back.
stuck
We were like,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
stuck out.
yeah, stuck out. So, um, anyways, Lacey would often like a pattern that started to every single family she's ever hung out with from childhood on said that she would lie, but by this time her lies were getting like bigger and bigger. So she showed up with an ankle brace one time and said she had fallen in from cheerleading, but that didn't like get her attention. And they were always usually like medical
Wow.
related or assault related. And so she said she did that. She hurt her ankle in the cheerleading, but then like when that didn't get her attention, the next week she came back and said she got it from fainting because she had an eating disorder and she was like so faint and she hadn't eaten, but she
Oh
was
my
eating
God.
at the church, so they knew that that wasn't true. Like she ate with them, churches you always eat. Like if you're doing that kind of stuff, you know how it
Right.
is, you eat, like you hang out. um Oh, hey, True Seeker. Hey,
Wow.
BTS. Yes, BTS. Yes,
So
yes.
that's definitely a pattern with her
Yeah.
too
Uh-huh. Yep.
later.
And
Oh,
so it's been a pattern. And she she always made her dolls sick too. And she still played with dolls up until she was about 14. And then she just quit playing with them and said, I'm too old. And she like started focusing on wanting a real baby soon after. Like, uh, anyways, they always had ear infections. The baby dolls, they were always sick. Um, and so
mm,
she ended up lying to the church and saying she was pregnant by a family member. Okay. Oh my God, this is going to be like a reoccurring lie. When Paula asked
wow.
questions, she knew there was like inconsistency. So she kept pushing, and Lacey said she got an abortion. But when she said, where did you get the abortion? It was at a place that she knew didn't do abortions. Like they didn't offer abortions there. So when Lacey would like catch on that people were catching on to her from like the age of 14 up or even younger, she would just cut contact with them. There was no more mention of them. Like,
Hmm.
um, yeah, she was a cute
That
little
makes sense.
girl. Yes, she was. She was a young child. It was bad. And so high school, she was like one of those overachievers, and she did choir, drama, Future Business Leaders of America, and she started experimenting with diet pills and Adderall to stay on top of things. Um, how she lost all of her good friends because she was hanging with the new crowd, and that's kind of common in high school.
Right.
But they would notice the same things, like as her old friends noticed, like she couldn't keep a group of friends because she would lie about these horrendous medical things.
Yeah, you're telling these
Um,
big old fucking whoppers of lies. You know, everybody.
yes,
It's not the friends, it's you. What how old was she the first time that she lied about getting an abortion? 14?
14,
Mm,
14. Yeah,
wow.
and Paula knew that that was not the case, so she started questioning her. But she got her first little
Damn.
boyfriend and worked at Jack's Burgers, and she kept talking about how she wanted to be a mom. That's all she wanted to do was be a mom. So right when she graduated, she started volunteering to be like, um, to watch babies at nurseries for different churches. And there was the first baby was named Charlie, and the mom just like she started way too much, doing too much, way too fast. And the mom was uncomfortable and she complained to the church. And she was like, I don't want her watching my baby anymore. So that she ended up like getting an actual job at a daycare, which is just scary in itself. Like this bitch is fucking crazy.
Oh, this part is so crazy to me.
Yes, well, the first daycare was so oh my god. This is the mom's name is Christy, okay, and she would work like Lacey would work 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with like she wouldn't even need breaks. She would just do with ease. It was so crazy how she could just like just go all day, and she could take care of all these babies. And so she ended up,
She must have been really good at it.
yeah,
They
she
all
was really
loved
good
her.
at it. Yeah, they all liked her at first until she would like almost come on too strong. And I don't know how to explain it. She would come on too strong and like start buying stuff, and I want to keep the kid overnight, and this isn't
Yeah,
like
she was having like
this.
baby equipment at her house and stuff, like where she didn't want to like let them go home, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's after she meets Blake, which is Blake is a cop. He went on a few dates. She was starting to get close to this mom named Christy. She was a younger mom, and I feel like she was happy to have the help at first. You know what I mean? Like, you're a young mom going to school,
Right.
working,
Yeah,
and somebody
definitely.
steps up, you're going to be happy. But she met Blake, and he was a strict Baptist, and he wouldn't be intimate with her. They had only had a few dates, and he wasn't ready for that. He just wanted to stick to being a strict Baptist, like a Southern Baptist at that. And so she ran into him at the store, screamed at him in front of everybody, and like never talked to him again because she wanted to have a baby. That was literally her only goal. Like, she wanted to have a baby. That's it.
Even even then already, and that was what, 16 she was then?
Mm-mm.
What?
No. This was straight out of high school. This one was out of high school. That's her first boyfriend when she worked at the little restaurant. Nobody got to talk to him much, so I don't know how that went. But Lacey was still helping. The baby's name was Cameron, and that's Christy was the mom. And she allowed her. There was some issues with Christy and her parents. So like the parents didn't want her around the baby's father. So Lacey would be like, "I'll keep the baby, and you can go and see him." And what younger mom wouldn't want that? Like, want to see the baby's father. You know what I mean? Um, so Cameron would get all these ear infections, though. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I did put a picture in there of the playroom. Did you get a picture of that? Did you see that? If
Let
not,
me
I can
see.
pull it up.
I have
It's
all the
like,
pictures pulled up. So
okay.
let me see.
I want to show them the playroom. She had no kids, too. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
It's,
Hold on. It's probably
did I put it? I know. Over here. It's okay if you can't find it. I should have labeled them. That's all right. I have it right here. All right. She
okay.
had no kids. It was insane. Okay. This is crazy when you have no little kids. And that was something that, like, I don't know. At first it was like almost endearing. All right. And then after that, it got like, why would she have all this? Okay.
Yeah, I could
Look at this
imagine, like,
playroom.
it's before you even realize that it's weird, it already is weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, oh, how sweet, how sweet, how sweet. And then you're like, what? What's going on here? This is,
Yes.
oh,
Hey, just for
wow.
you, frustrated lurker. Yeah, I know why, because I didn't have it with the other pictures. I put some vlogs in that. But all right, so what ended up happening with Cameron, the baby, was that Lacey had offered to keep him overnight, and she often did that, all right, because the girl was like working so much, going to school. But she was supposed to bring him home, and she didn't. Like, she had to go to Lacey's work, and she just found him there. And Lacey had the baby like nothing was no big deal. That you just kept my kid overnight, and I couldn't find you guys. Wouldn't answer the door. Nothing. So,
What if she was just like, oh, sorry.
She didn't give an explanation. She just like started bursting out in tears, begging her not to take him. So anyways, but Lacey would do this thing. She would lose one baby, okay? She would lose like one baby for whatever reason, and she would find another, okay? So she befriended a woman named Autumn who was pregnant with a little boy, and she was going to name him Jonathan. She threw a baby shower and gave him this family discount at the daycare she worked at. And she ended up calling him John. And Autumn was young and going to school while working, and he spent more time with Lacey than Autumn for a while because she was trying to better her life. Like, she wasn't just out partying. She was going to school and working, and she had to go out of town for something for school once a month, and Lacey would keep him for those nights. And she thought they were best friends. Autumn thought that they were best friends. She never thought anything But her family started kind of noticing
Mm.
really weird things. And she was posting photos online that made him seem like Jonathan was her baby. Like,
Mm.
hold on, I have that too. And I know it's with the thing that I should have put these with the other ones. But this is just an example of how many, this is just
That's her
a
best
little picture.
friend. Like when you're
Yes.
with your best friend, you're not gonna see them that way. I could see how the other people, the family and all that surrounded around would see it that way, But you're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna look at her. You're not gonna think, oh, my best friend has weird intentions like that.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't know
Mm.
about the social media until later. The Autumn girl did. And I don't, because this was years ago. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
2007, 2008. It's not like it is now.
No,
Hey,
that's when
Hugh,
she would
Patrick.
post on social media and nobody would even know about it really. Like that.
Yeah.
Not
Because
like
she was
now.
real. Yeah. She was real early into social media. So this is just an example. She posted dozens of pictures and made it, that was her kid on there. So eventually somebody told her that the posts were going on, and she was uncomfortable, but she did let it go on for a couple more years because she was like, well, maybe they misunderstood. And like, what do you say that,
That's
like,
the
I don't
last
know.
thing your mind's gonna go to. Like it just is. You're not gonna think that.
Hmm.
That's the issue with
Yeah.
this kind of thing. Nobody's mind is gonna go to that.
Yeah, nobody's gonna think that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
my best friend has lots of pictures of my kids with her kids on social media, and I'm never gonna be like, oh, well, she probably posted them because
Right. She
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 wanted
she
it
kind
to.
of pass it off, like no. Mm,
Yeah.
no.
So it turns out though that everybody was kind of wondering where she got all this money because they had such nice toys for the and all
Right.
these
That's
a
what I was
playroom.
thinking.
And she went to all these churches and told them that she was a single mom, and they would give her like all of these resources that were meant for single moms, like the formula, the diapers, the car seat that she got. All of that came from that kind of stuff. um and then
Oh.
over the years, like over the 3 years that Lacey had him, John had 21 ear infections, and little holes in his eardrums that they couldn't
Oh my
figure
god.
out.
Mhm.
So, um,
So the
she
first
ended
little
up.
baby, the first little
Hmm.
boy, he,
Hmm.
he never got close enough to be getting sick, right? Or he did too.
Every kid she's ever touched has had ear infections. Every single
Oh my
kid,
god.
because
Okay.
you can poke holes in eardrums. There's all kinds of things. Oh God, it kills me to
Oh,
think about. Like,
yeah.
I know I'm.
Sorry, I even asked the question.
Oh, I know, right? So, God, it's oh. So in 2007, she befriended another mom. It's like she felt distance coming, and named Shauna, who had two kids, and one was one and one was five. Um,
So
Zach.
this lady had started maybe waking up into it and feeling some type
Yes,
of way.
yeah. I don't think she was
So then
totally
she had
cut
to
off from
move on.
John, but it was like just distance, but not all the way cut off from what I could
Yeah.
find out. I think that was later, but anytime she'd feel distance, she would do this. It was really
Hmm.
freaking weird. Hey, Long Island girl.
But she wanted unfettered access. She wanted to have the
Yes.
access to the
Hmm.
child like it was her own child.
Yes.
Mm.
So she got really close to Shauna, and Shauna thought Jonathan was her kid too, John, because like I guess she still had him sometimes. I don't know how she explained that. I'm not sure because he wasn't with her as much.
Oh,
Like I don't know if she said that the dad had primary custody. I couldn't find anything to tell me how that had happened,
she
but she
probably
was under the impression
used
Jonathan.
she
Hmm.
probably used Jonathan to make her feel comfortable enough to leave the other baby in her care and blah blah blah
Yeah.
to
So
gain her
well,
trust.
yeah. Um. So
Mm.
Shauna started to distance herself from Lacey, and for I don't know, she just kind of got weird vibes. But then Lacey said that her family had gotten her pregnant by abusing her, and she also told the Blake story for the first time, which Blake is the cop that she ended up yelling at and all of that. But she told everybody that
Oh,
he
I know that
was,
name. Yeah.
yeah, he was dead. She told everybody that he was dead from a car
Yep.
accident. Um, oh my God, this is such a mess. it's not funny, but it's just like, how do you keep up with all this?
There
Like,
were so many red flags. It's insane.
yes, yes, so many red flags. So, Shauna's husband and mom told her there's something off this girl because she had given her a key and everything to her house. Okay, and they said get your key back and you're going to have to distance yourself all the way. I don't know. I just don't. The mom was like, I don't like this. The husband was like, look, I'm not gonna stand by anymore. There's something off this girl. Get our key back. Get her the f out of our life. And Shauna was sobbing. So, and said, Lacey, it's causing problems in my marriage and I have to take a step back. And Lacey like screamed at her, slammed stuff, and left. So, oh my God. She ended up going to Florida, she has grandparents and family down there. And she came back. She had told Shauna she was pregnant, if you remember. But she came back and she didn't have a baby or anything. Like, she talked to Shauna, I think, on just like social media, right? Like, it wasn't, they didn't completely cut it off, but it wasn't like it was. But let me get a picture of Chris. Hold on, because I know that's not in the same spot either. She met a downstairs neighbor named Chris. Get it.
It's amazing how quickly she could latch on to the next person.
Yes. It was
and they had no idea who was in their midst, what she was capable of, what her intentions were.
No, none. So none at all. So this is Chris. He's a single dad. He lived upstairs and he wanted the relationship. She did not. She just wanted to sleep with him to get a baby. Honest to God, that is what she told people. Well, they started sleeping together and she got pregnant. Okay. And they had agreed on a name, Kaden. She ended up changing it, and he noticed that she was just getting really cold, but they still went ahead and introduced the families to each other. And he thought how good she was with babies. She would be that way because he had a son, and she was so mean and cold to his son. And it wasn't how he thought it was going to be. So when she had the baby, she never let him see the baby. She never even let him get a peek at the baby. She would threaten to call the cops on him, all of that. So, Garnet Paul Thompson. Oh, sorry.
Didn't she say right away whenever he was born that Blake was the dad? I read that somewhere.
Yeah, she told other people that she had different stories for different people. She ended up telling him after she got out of the hospital, he could not see the baby. And then she said, you're not the dad. Okay. She didn't tell him that Blake was the dad yet, but she told other people that, but her family knew that Chris was the dad.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird.
Like, point blank period. You're not, you're
gone. You're just kidding. You're not the dad. Yeah. So, the baby was born and she ended up naming him, Garnet Paul Thompson Spears. And she wouldn't even let him look at him. He wanted to get a look at him to see, because he just knew he was the dad. He just knew it, but he never even got to see him. He never got to. He wanted to be involved, and she would not allow it. And that's when she started telling us.
Since
I don't know that he's done public interviews. I couldn't find any, but I didn't search the web. I just searched YouTube. I was going to save that for part 2 also, because I know that he really wanted to be involved. He knew that was his kid. He begged. He would go there, and she would try to call the cops on him and say that she's going to get a restraining order. And
they probably would have given it to her too, because she could have said, "He's hitting me. He's whatever."
Yep. I mean, she could have said he's trying to harm the baby. This isn't even his baby. Whatever. And at a few weeks old, she went to the doctor and said this baby was pulling on his ears, which is not even possible. And started saying he wouldn't eat. But every time he was dehydrated, by the way. One of the times he was dehydrated. But then he would go in hospital and he would eat fine. He would take a bottle fine. He would have nasty ear infections, though. Terrible with pus. And there was a doctor named Melissa King, and she did notice red flags, and she wrote a note that Garnet could be the victim of Munchausen by proxy, but doctors never want to call. Like, just because he would do good, he would be dehydrated and all that. He'd come in and eat, and then she'd go back out. You know what I mean? And he was in the hospital like I think 23 times before he was even 1 year old.
Yes. I wonder if
Yeah,
they even know how to go about diagnosing that. Like, it's a really complicated situation, and
yeah.
clearly it
Because if you're
didn't work with
wrong,
this little
yeah,
boy. Yeah.
back then it wasn't as easy for doctors to get medical records as it is now. Like, I mean, I know it was only like
Right. Because now if
not
you
even
pull it
20
up in
years
one
ago.
computer, a doctor across
Yeah,
the country can pull up your records and read it too. So yeah, that probably helps a whole lot. Oh,
yeah. So, in January 14th of 2009, um, hold on a second. Sorry. Okay. She was referred to social services for wanting to harm her baby because she said she wanted to harm the baby. They said she was detached, but they felt like it was just like a postpartum deal, really. Um, he did have failure to thrive, and then um, at 9 weeks old, when he went in, they actually did a feeding study, which is like where they end up feeding him. No issues. Like, he fed fine, he kept it down, all of that. Um, but as soon as the feeding study was over, he ended up with a high level of sodium at 180. The normal level is 135. Okay, 180, and he was unresponsive, and he had to be flown to Children's. Every time he would do good, and they would be able to prove that he's doing good, something like that would happen. By the way, like, it's a pattern.
did he already
He's
have a
having
feeding tube, or he didn't have the feeding tube
not
yet?
yet, not yet. No, no, not yet. That's in a couple
So
months, but
before the feeding tube ever even came, he was already having high levels of sodium.
yes, 23 times. Yep, 23 times.
So she just
So,
wasn't feeding him. She was already doing whatever she was doing.
yeah. And I
Finding
mean,
to feed him.
180 could be lethal. Like, that level of sodium, the level is 135. That is
To a
insane.
little bitty, teeny, tiny baby. Like,
Uh huh.
mm,
Yep. It just, hmm.
he's a monster, I swear.
She is a monster. Like, I just am reading this. I'm just like, because I'm reading my notes that I was writing earlier, but it's just, oh my God. So, anyways, he was diagnosed with just basically he had high levels of sodium. Like, that was his diagnosis. He spent 11 days,
But other than that, everything
and
else is fine. He's
yes,
eating,
everything was
he's
fine. Mm-hmm.
gastrointestinal, passing every test. He's perfectly fine, except for every time he goes, his sodium's super sky high. That's it.
Yep, and he's dehydrated, and he has ear infections. Every time he goes to the doctor, he has an ear infection, a really bad ear infection. So he spent 11 days at the hospital and urgent, in the children's ICU, and they actually quarantined him from his mom for 4 days, and he did the best that they could find that he did the entire
Oh
time.
my god.
So she was questioned and said that she was giving him breast milk diluted with Pedialyte and water under a pediatrician's advice, and that doctor knew she was lying. But they let him go home with her. So I just don't. I have so many people failed the baby, so many. Like, there was chance after chance after chance for them to do. I mean, to do something. So she ended up like getting SSI so she could live off of that for him because he was finally diagnosed with like or because he was in the hospital so much and everything, he was such a sick baby. And she went to go get SSI. He didn't have the diagnosis yet though. But friends were noticing that she would scream at him, and she even smacked his little leg one day when he was seriously like an infant. I'm talking a couple of months old. He was under 6 months old when that happened, and they reported it. No investigation happened though, and that's going to be a pattern too. Like, there was multiple reports to CPS, and nothing ever happened. At 6 months old, she went to lunch and with a friend at a Mexican restaurant, and she started shoving hot salsa in his little mouth, like in front of the friend.
Mm.
So I think the friend
This was
I don't think
after
that friend.
she had already taken him
Mhm.
to the hospital a million times, saying that he couldn't eat and he wasn't feeding and
Yes.
all that stuff. But
Yes.
let him shove
Like,
hot sauce in your mouth.
yeah, hot
Okay.
salsa, yeah. So, one hospital trip, shortly after that, they found fresh holes in his ears again, in his eardrums. And 6 months old, another doctor put that they thought that she could have Munchausen by proxy, but no call to social services.
2 doctors
Um,
were just, if anybody's keeping count, we're up to 2 doctors that diagnosed or said that it could be, and then a CPS, 2 CPS
at least two
complaints
CPS.
now?
That's all. At least
2
two. That's the
CPS complaints
confirmed.
and 2 doctors. Okay. All
Hmm.
right. Just in case you're keeping count.
Well, she was at the hospital, and they were saying, "Oh wait, I'm so sorry." Okay. At 6 months old, she did talk a doctor into because she would go to different doctors. So, at around 5 or 6 months old, she ended up getting a doctor to not only do a feeding tube, but she also got these doctors to do this thing where it makes like it closes off your throat. You cannot vomit. You can't get sick. Okay. Um, she got a doctor to do that because she didn't correctly like give the other medical records. So this doctor thought that this baby was just failure to thrive, and this mom was so concerned, and he was just puking everything up, and they gave him that surgery. Like they did that surgery on him where he would never be able to puke again. So he couldn't puke up all that salt. You know what I mean? She had full access now. Just put
Oh my
everything in his
god.
G tube, and he couldn't even puke the fucking poison out.
It's
So
a horror story.
it's a horror story. Like it is
Mm.
a real life horror story. So uh, she was at the hospital, and she poured it looked like water on the bed, and she was telling them that he was puking even though he couldn't puke. He had that surgery. But she poured water on the bed and said he vomited it up. And I don't know how that. And another report was made to investigate her because somebody witnessed bleeding from his eyes, ears, and nose. Um, eh, I don't know how she kept custody of him. I don't know. Um, and so he was airlifted because like she couldn't get the bleeding from his ears, eyes, and nose to stop. And she met a nurse, and she started getting close to the nurse. Go figure. And they think that it's because she wanted to learn more of the nurse, more of the medical terms and all that. That's like, and get an in with the doctor kind of,
Yeah.
if you're friends with the nurse and you go visit, they're not going to be on as high of alert as if you're just some stranger off the street, right?
Well, and then when
So
you go to the next doctor, you sound more informed. You sound like you know what you're talking about. Then they'll do what you want. More easy.
yes, BTS, I thought I did. Sorry. Yep, sure can. I meant to do that. Sorry. I was
Mm-mm-mm.
looking down. Sure can. And I have, all right here. This is actually the one I'll
Mommy.
put up right here.
Mm-mm-mm.
This one, all right. So this is when she started. This is actually right around the time she started putting everything. Hold on a second.
And all the while, this whole entire story that she's telling you, I think all the while, but I know most of it. She's on social media talking about how sick her baby is and all of these, like, oh, can you pray for my baby? He's so sick, blah blah blah, like all the time. And she gained sort of a following for back then through some kind of mommy communities and using her sick child. I wonder if that baby knew, like if he knew something wasn't right. Oh, just it only gets worse.
Yeah, it only gets worse. Sorry,
Yeah.
I moved different. I had moved outside. So okay, so okay, he got the feeding tube at 9 months old. He got the surgery. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay, so she there was a doctor, the doctor that worked with the, with the nurse. She started getting close to them, but the nurse would start to notice red flags too. So she ended up moving all the way back to Florida. Like she ended up going down to Florida. She met a really good friend named Kim Phillipson, and that was her grandmother's neighbor. And Garnett spent a lot of time there with Kim because her uncle was actually sick. So Kim would watch Garnett while she went to like the hospice center and everything, and would help her grandma and all that. Um, and she said he never like gave her any problems eating. He had the feeding tube, but he could still eat. You know what I mean? It was just the feeding tube was supposed to be a last resort and something he would get off of. That's always usually the goal with feeding tubes for anybody that don't know. So one day Lacey like comes over, freaks out because her grandma doesn't have Wi-Fi or laptop, and Kim ends up letting her use hers, and she would just let her keep Garnett a lot more. She would just post online all day, and that's what she wanted to do. She really wouldn't like watch him when he was outside, and Garnett wanted to go over to Kim's probably because he could eat. He got to eat food and be a kid, and so anyways, not be tortured, right? So she ended up telling, changing the story about the family abuse a little bit and saying that multiple family members had abused her. And one of them were Garnett's father. That's what she told Kim. And Kim didn't know anything about what she had told people in Alabama because, again, social media wasn't that big then. People didn't talk, it wasn't. You're not going to get away with lies like that today, but
no, you could totally announce something on social media back then, and most people not even see it or hear they even did that.
He wasn't even. It was right after. It was like right after. It was. He wasn't even a year yet, or he was right around a year, I think, when the grandma got sick. They hadn't moved to Florida yet. This was right after his hospital stays.
Still here, so he's probably under what?
Yeah,
one.
That was when he was 9 months old. 9 months when he got that. Hold on, let me go put a picture of him as a toddler. I got all these little pictures.
Next, thank you. I was going to ask you a question about timing. I can't remember. Dang it, it'll come back to me in a minute.
Trying to find out.
Oh, I know. I was going to say the up and moving thing. I was listening to something today, and they said that's a really big thing with Munchausens because you know how she was going to, like you said, she was going to the churches and telling the churches that she was a single mom. They use up all their resources around them to the point that they can't anymore, and then they're kind of forced out of their area to be able to still live the way that they live. They have to move to a totally new area to have brand new resources to use up, brand new hospitals, brand new doctors, brand new churches, all of that.
So yep, they have to. Yes, they move a lot. As soon as people start to catch on, I know he's so. The uncle actually stayed in hospice for a while because she got close to Kim. She got really close to Kim during this time. Because they ended up moving there permanently after the uncle's death, but it was a while that they were there. I didn't find the exact time frame because you were listening to stuff. I couldn't find anything like in the blogs and stuff. I actually had to find some like random YouTube video that I accidentally found just to find this stuff to fill in the stuff, the parts that I couldn't find when it was in writing.
Was it a man?
So yes.
Yes, I watched one video. I didn't get to finish it, but he was so in depth and detailed. I was like, wow.
I know. Like I couldn't even take it all in because he was like, he don't have enough people. I'm actually going to link his channel under this. Great. Yes, he did such a good deep dive into this. I could, the way he was telling it, he didn't need dates, but I needed dates, right? I needed like ages, and he didn't tell him, but he did such a good job. Like he was awesome. Okay, so anyways, she told her friend
even telling the story, like from seeing how things progress into what happened is, just that alone paints a picture enough to be able to see and to know more about Munchausen's, even if we don't know exact
Yes.
dates, is what I'm saying.
Yes, it did. I'm gonna link his channel, and you guys should go listen. He has other stuff too, though. But she ended up so she ended up telling Kim she was abused by multiple men, and they like would stalk her and they would harass her, and she ended up telling Kim because I don't know if she felt Kim pulling away or not, or something maybe, but that's usually when she told big lies. But she told her that she was pregnant by a family member. They had abused her, raped, assaulted her, and that she was pregnant now. So Kim was like feeling really bad. She's like, what can I do? Do you want me to help you? I'll pay for an abortion. So she set up an abortion, and they went to go get it. And she was like, oh, I don't need it. I had a miscarriage. Like, what? What the frick? Like, I don't need it. I had a miscarriage. I don't need an abortion
You had
anymore.
her follow all the way through with setting it up and ready to go, and then was like,
Yes.
never mind. What the hell?
Yes. And that was
I think she believes the things that she said, by the way. As
yes.
sick as it sounds, if you listen to
Yes.
her, the way that she believes the things that she says. She believes her lies. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Like, I think in her mind right now, she doesn't think that she done anything to this little boy.
No, he is still very much in denial. Like,
It's amazing
as
to me.
really, like, super, super. She's still, I don't have mental illness. I don't have this. So
Yeah, and I don't know how Munchausen works. I need to look into it more. Exactly, like, I thought it was just all for attention, but hearing the way that she talks about it and how she denies it, it's like she's really sick. Like, she doesn't even think she did the things that she did. I don't think.
no, I don't know if she does. I don't know. She's also just a really good liar. Her mom, like, okay, so throughout all of this, her mom ended up coming down, for the funeral of the uncle,
Yeah,
or to say her goodbyes in the funeral, whatever. And she said that Kim said the dynamic between her and her mom was so strange. Like, she would just like yell at Lacey all day, and at one point she even struck her. She even just hit her, and Lacey really just wanted her approval. And
Lacey was how old then?
She was like, what, 20, probably 22, in her 20s at some point.
She was 25 or something.
25
no,
or 26, whenever. Or was she 24?
Oh, wow.
I don't know what's in my notes, but yeah, she
older than 21. Her mother was still physically
striking her and screaming at her and just telling her what to do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so she said that Lacey got like more clingy to her after that, and she cut her hair just like Kim had her hair cut, like to a T, just like it. It was really bad. Like, she started to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but she did feel bad because the family member had just died, and Lacey had told her all this stuff, and she didn't know really what to do with the information, and she didn't really believe her. But you don't ever want to question somebody about that, because if you're wrong. So one day they had gotten in a heated argument, the neighbor Kim and the family, and she had just kind of blurted out like that she knew that Lacey had been abused, and the grandma like kind of snickered and said, oh God, you really don't know much, do you? Like, Lacey didn't know the truth if I hit her in the face, pretty much. And that she had real issues with telling the truth, and the whole family just didn't even bat an eye, like never even said anything. So it was a really, I don't know. I wouldn't want to question it either, but to hear that, I don't know.
So it's like, what is it caused from nobody paying you attention, or does nobody pay you attention because you lie your fucking ass off your whole life?
She's always lied. She's never told the truth. Always been a liar.
Part of Munchausen's.
Mm-hmm. Well, her parents, BTS, she came in late, but her parents were always sick. They both had like real things. Like, her dad was partially deaf, had Crohn's disease, and then her mother had type 1 diabetes. Her mom was super cold. Her dad worked a lot, and even with his ailments, and then the marriage suffered, and she seemed to get a lot of attention from like her other family members, though. Like, and she spent a lot of time with them, but no attention was ever enough, kind of thing. And she always just wanted to be like the shining star out of her 3 siblings, but she also seemed close to her sister. So like she got her first apartment with her sister and everything. So I don't know. Like, so anyway,
I think there's plenty of
she,
kids that don't get attention that don't grow up like that. So I think that's fair to
yes,
say.
for sure.
Sorry,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
yeah,
blurted that
that
out.
is,
But
yeah, I knew BTS earlier had a lot of questions about her childhood, and she came in late. Hey, Sarah.
yeah, her
Hey,
childhood
Lacey.
definitely played into this, and it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg. But it's just there are a lot of kids that go through a lot of shit that don't go down this particular path.
Yeah. So Mary, yeah, there's not an exact, like they don't know exactly what causes it. They've looked into it
Maybe
and looked
that's
into
why
it,
it gets
and
looked over and nobody wants to be the hey Lacey, nobody wants to be the doctor that like jumps out the window and wants to be the one that's going to diagnose it and push it, because the parent is responsible for the child. So it's a hard dynamic, even though there were a couple of doctors that were like, this could be what it is. Nobody went out on the limb and took the chance to say that's what this is,
yeah. So
unfortunately.
yeah, I think I wish I really looked like if there was any kind of causes, and they have a whole bunch of things that they think could cause it, but in every case it's different. Like every case, a lot of people were only children. Some came from big families. Some came from 2 siblings where one was shine brighter than the other. Some came from like well-to-do families. Some came from poor families. Like there was no constant in it. So I don't, like they've done brain studies, all of it,
So it's just
and
a
they don't
mental
have.
illness that they don't know a whole ton about because it's kind of rare. And they probably, there's a lot they can learn on it still, looks like.
Yes, I found that Kimmy C, and then I found things that were saying that there was no real pattern, like because like she wasn't sick a lot as a kid or anything. She actually, from what everything I read, was a healthy, outgoing, she wanted attention all the time, but I feel like a lot of kids do. Like, it's a kid thing. Like, look at
One of
me,
the
look what I'm
ladies that I watch
doing.
on here, that's a
Yeah.
she's diagnosed sociopath, I think is her diagnosis, and she was really sick as a child, and that's how she thinks that she became into a sociopath, because she learned to operate in certain ways as a child when she was sick to get attention, but it's not Munchausen what she does. She's a sociopath. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's interesting. I would like to see her channel. Like she talks about it
she's
herself.
pretty. Yeah, she's a pretty girl,
Uh,
and she like talks to other people to try to control their urges to like use people, and that kind of thing, to abuse people, pretty much, to not want to do that.
wow. That's interesting. I
Yeah,
didn't
I'll
know that
find it and share it
anybody.
with you guys.
Thank you. Okay, so after her uncle died, they actually permanently moved to Florida because it was only going to be like a temporary stay, and he actually left all of his money to Grandma and Lacey. And when she went up to get all of their stuff, Chris, the dad, had actually tried to go see the kid again. He actually wanted to see him, and he banged on the door. He just and she said she was going to call the cops, get out of there. And he has another kid he has to think about, So he never got to see the kid, but they were living really well. And she started several Facebook accounts, and she would like compartmentalize people based on like what stories she had told them. So if she told him Blake was the dad and he died, or the the family abused her and that was the dad, or that anything about her life that was different. She had like different social medias for people. That's how calculated she was.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, what?
I don't
So
think she'd
I've
be able
never
to
heard
do
of
that
that.
now. She would get caught.
No. Yes, she would get caught because it's just too big now.
Well, unless
Everybody's on
you've
there.
done different names,
Mm.
but
But
I
then
don't.
like people would be like,
She'd never be able to
well,
do that. Right?
like the regular other Lacey would show up in your recommendation. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
crazy. I shouldn't use that word. Sorry,
I mean, that's
but
insane. It really is.
yeah, whatever.
It is. So he had been doing really well. He had like not had any eating problems, and his health was like so good except for constant ear infections, of course. And she could afford private insurance finally. So she gets private insurance, and
Mm.
she goes with the story that he's refusing to eat again, and knows damn well it ain't true. Like they had a whole bunch of fights about it. And she started with the various doctors again because there for a while she was distracted with the uncle and everything. And she starts talking about his health all the time. And she started practicing attached parenting, started joining mom groups for attached parenting. And she started seeing Oriental medicine doctors. And they would they practice like herbs and new diets and
Yeah.
exercise instead of Western medicine. So the pediatrician that she was seeing, because she still had to see a pediatrician because of his feeding tube, thank God, and his ears, but they really wanted to see the charts from up in Alabama, and they never got to see them. And she was concerned he had numerous ear infections, and she wanted tubes, put all in it, in his ears, and she wanted to do all kinds of stuff again. They agreed to do the tubes. She wanted to do all this stuff, but she wouldn't give him his medicine. Okay, she wanted to get the tubes. She wouldn't put the ear drops in. She wanted to get the antibiotics, but she wouldn't give them to him. She wanted to see a doctor, but wouldn't follow the recommendations. Those kind of things. So, she ended up getting his tubes out 2 weeks after. Huh?
Could he talk?
Yeah, he had really good speech. That's why people didn't think he had
What if
such
he
bad
was
ear
like,
problems.
I like food. You know what I mean? Like what? But he probably knew. She probably been trained. Like whenever we're talking to the doctor, you let me talk.
Attached
Don't
parenting, yeah, attached parenting is like empathy, responsiveness, and skin to skin, and it's like what I just described. More, like it's like co-sleeping, and instead of like yelling, which is ironic because she was a yeller. You find a common ground with the child. It's really common. It's really popular. It's like a crunchy parent. So, let's see. I'm sorry, I lost my place. So, because of her social media posts, there was a call made to CPS, and the first call in Florida that it's already come. It's already starting. People are the social media post, and just the fact that she got the tubes taken out 2 weeks after she put them in. She wouldn't use the ear drops. She wouldn't give the antibiotics. She would go on how sick he was, and then take him to the beach all day and let him play in the water after the doctor said no water. Right? Things like that. Like no water in his ears, I mean. So the CPS came. They talked to the Grandma Peggy, and Grandma Peggy lied and said, "Oh, she's a great mom. She's following all the doctor's orders." I don't know why someone would say that. Even though she was telling Lacey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? I don't know. Yes, bonding and rewards instead of punishment is a much easier, nicer way to, it's a much easier way to put it than the actual definition. But it's like co-sleeping. And you just don't get punished at all. Like you actually thrive off positivity instead when they do something wrong. Those kind of things.
It's instead of being like no all the time. You're
Mm-hmm.
giving them options and all stuff like that.
Redirecting them instead of yelling at them. So, Peggy ended up telling the caseworker everything was good. And that night, after CPS left, because the grandma lied, she created a page called follow my journey or follow our journey. I actually have it pulled up. Hold on. She ended up creating a blog, and I kind of take it like I agree with the guy that I watch. It's kind of like an F you to the person that called CPS. Okay, like we're fine over here. I'm trying to find the earliest one. This one's about the dad. I could only find I think four of them, but I'll share this with you guys. And she posted everything. These are all hate comments because of what she turned out to be. I'll let you guys read this. Whoops. Here's a bunch of pictures. I'll go slow. This was Halloween. Thanksgiving, our first without Daddy Blake. Okay. See, without Daddy Blake. That's the dad, the cop that's not even dead. He's not dead. Christmas.
Not dead and he's not the dad.
Yeah, G's first spin at home, which is Florida home. Our home was quiet, still and simple. Christmas wasn't Christmas without Daddy Blake. See, she was like obsessed with the Daddy Blake thing. Like she said that he was an owl. He came back as an owl and started decorating her house with owls.
And they were never even in a relationship, right?
No, they had casual dating. He wouldn't sleep with her. Oh, I'd be so sad about the dog. Oh, God.
Thank you. Next, sent you a super chat and said, Mander, thank you so much for doing this, babe.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Next. Thank you. Okay, so you don't even want to know what she does to the dog. I'm going to tell you guys about the dog in a minute.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So I'll share this with you guys and you guys can look through it.
Imagine all the animals and imagine all the things she's done, all the years that people don't even know about.
Yeah, so okay, the page was, and then there was a second report to CPS because he had lost 50% of his hearing, and again, he was bleeding from his eyes, ears, and his nose. Okay, oh my God, can you even imagine? She smacks him for no reason again. They didn't take it seriously. They did not take that call seriously. Then there was a third report with that in Florida. We're on to this is our third one, and now, and that report is Lacey went into the office to talk to them because, you know, this was a third report. It was similar to the second one that they didn't take seriously just now, and they said, well, his speech is good. They did think that they did close the case, but they also did write a note that like they don't think she's abusive, but they do think that her not following up with the medications and everything did help get him in the condition that he was in. So another call was placed a month later. They determined that her lack of actions likely contributed to his weight loss, but the case was still closed. They even put that it was a risk because he was at a risk because of his age and his long medical history. And Lacey told her mom group that she had a brain tumor and she was suffering a lot. So a lot of the red flags that they would normally see when she was talking and stuff, they kind of chalked it up to that. Most of these calls were from her social media stuff. And even though they're anonymous, that's what ended up coming out. But a lot of those were from the online groups. So she ended up getting a nanny job. Oh my God, this lady. And she ended up really pushing the Blake story to this lady and to her mom group. Okay, thank you. And so this lady, she got a nanny job and the girl was getting ear infections, but everything else was going good. The baby was getting ear infections. But one mom felt so bad that she offered like that, about the cop being killed in the tragic car accident. And she had a brain tumor that could, I don't know why you would want to try to have a baby when you had a brain tumor. I have no idea. But apparently it wasn't growing and she was okay for now. And everybody felt so bad for her to the point that one mom let her sleep with her husband and try to give her a baby. And it was short-lived.
Oh my God.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, there's so much to this. Yes. The mom let her sleep with.
Very convincing. Imagine.
Yes. She was super convincing. And so that was a short-lived friendship, obviously. Jealousy got in the way, and, you know. So Lacey ended up joining all these survivor groups for deceased spouses. Like, people, you know, your spouse was deceased. So many people, though, started to become increasingly worried about Lacey. Like, and they started making their own reports. I don't know how many reports were exactly made. I couldn't find a number, but I know that there were no less than 10 made just in Florida. And people actually started calling, like, instead of calling CPS, since they weren't doing nothing, they called the cops on her. And they have a child abuse unit there, and they were going to start investigating her pretty soon. She didn't know that yet. But there was, she ended up, can we pull a picture up of the dog? Do you have the dog anywhere? I
Yes.
think I had one in there. So, oh, God.
Every
Ash, cover your
picture,
ears.
every finger in the world is pointing towards her. You know, like there. Wow.
Yes. There should be like a picture of him playing with the dog. Right there.
Yes.
Okay, so his name was Audie, and it was a wiener dog, and he was all about his little wiener dog, and they were like best friends, like a little boy and his dog would always be, you know. But after a little while, everybody noticed that the dog would be like yiping so loud from the garage all day, and it was August in Florida. Like, that can kill an animal. And it was crying, and Kim would notice it, the neighbor, but she really wasn't around as much, I guess. And people would notice it. I don't know how that didn't get reported, but one day somebody found Audie dead under a neighbor's window, and she couldn't keep her story straight on how it died. So that was like really sad for the little boy, you know, like the dog was dead. And so anytime one member of her group would get like an illness, they would notice that she would get it, right? Like a couple weeks later, she would come back. That's what she would have. And all in the meantime of this is that she's having all these illnesses. The family that she needed for let her go because they were noticing the baby wouldn't take a bottle from Lacey, chronic ear infections, gastric issues, and she stole. And then the final thing was the baby got icy hot in her eyes, and nobody could tell the parents how that happened. So, yeah.
Oh,
So anyway, she started to feel the heat, and the
so
cops were starting to close in instead of just CPS. They kept calling her for an interview, couldn't get an interview. They would call her, couldn't get one. And when she was supposed to get an interview, she posted that they're moving to New York because like nobody knew she had been accepted into this place called the Fellowship, where it is it's like a little place. They focus on the elderly, but there was also a school for kids, and she could get Garnet's tuition paid there, right? Like, you lived there, you took care of each other. There was a farm, there was all of that, gardens, and she could get his tuition paid for, and she could live there. She just had to do her part in it. And the lady came to interview her, felt so bad about her stories about how, the dad had died and all that, that she just instantly said, "Come on, I'm accepting you." Like, that's how good she was. Yeah,
and now she gets to
BTS.
start all over again
Yeah.
with all of her
Yes.
resources, new doctors, new everything.
Yep. So basically, too, also, she had filled the application out and said he had no medical needs, that he just had chronic ear infections. I don't know how she got around that, because then they started noticing, they were around him, you know what I mean? So I'd say it was in Chestnut Ridge, New York, and it was called the Fellowship Community, and it was just like holistic food, farm to table diet. Like, they had their own gardens, they just took care of their own, and she had to do her like, she had to put her part in this. She had to, like, do some gardening and take care of the elderly, and
It's like a
you know
community. They had to
yeah, it was
work
a real
together to
community.
take
Yeah.
care of each other.
Yeah. Yes. Unlike
I found it online.
What?
She probably found it online through her
Well,
mommy groups and whatnot.
yeah, through her mommy groups and all that, and somebody he wasn't quite old enough for a school that they had recommended, and then she found this one through that group, and feeling the heat, she could go all the way to New York from Florida, right? And
Yep.
oh my God, what a mess. So he was doing really, really well. Like he made a lot of friends and he thrived, and he was just, it was like an open door policy, basically. Like everybody could just run around and be kids. It's like a big farm, a big area. They could all just play there. Like he could eat, nobody ever noticed any problems. They would go to like diners and stuff, and he would ask for seconds and thirds. Like he wanted to eat. He loved food. So
So
the
he
new
wasn't
neighbors,
so isolated with her
hmm
all the time in this environment.
they're called co-op communities. I've never heard of it until this. I'm going to be totally honest. I've never heard of it. It's a mission. I think it's a cool idea, especially for like the elderly. They were treated much better than they were treated like in nursing homes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like from anything I read, they were really well taken care of. And
It was a great idea for a great environment for him to be in. The
yes,
only chance he had.
yes. And so, anyways, he made a lot of progress there, and it took a while for people to start getting suspicious. But every time they would be around him, he would eat so well and do so well, and then she would have some big medical emergency, like you know, he had a seizure or he wasn't eating again, and all of that, you know, stuff that she's been saying his whole life, and the ear
Right.
infections. And after he'd seemed so healthy, like an hour before, people did start to really, but every time they would start to get suspicious, she would say like, oh, he misses his daddy Blake. This is so hard. And every time she knew what to say to get people back on the hook. It's the weirdest thing that she could do that so much. Hey, Shauna. Yeah, it is a precious picture. In theory, it can be super helpful. Yeah. Oh no, I missed Ash's comment. Hold on.
It's probably about the doggy.
I know. Oh, she said take the doggy off the picture. Okay,
Okay, hang on.
change the
I'll find another
picture.
one.
Find another
Told you,
picture.
I know it could be about the doggy. Oh,
Oh,
there's another doggy picture.
God.
I'll put it back on that one for now.
Okay. So that is like, I don't want to go. I want to do part 2 tomorrow because there's a lot that happens like after this. Well, I mean, it's leading up to his death, but I want to do part 2 tomorrow because my video maker kept crashing today, and I didn't get to put the video together because the death is actually caught on camera. So
Yes, the fact that it was. Do you? I think she wouldn't even have gotten convicted if it wasn't.
I didn't laugh at your comment. I was laughing because no, Stephanie knew you so well, but I didn't see your funny comment. But I laughed because Stephanie knew exactly what you were going to say. But yeah, there's a lot to his death. It's caught on camera. She almost gets away with it, actually.
You all have to see. I think personally she would have
Night, Kimmy.
had good night, Kimmy, for that fluke of it being caught on camera and they didn't even know.
The neighbor.
Yeah.
And the neighbor calling. Yeah.
Definitely it was meant for her to be caught.
Yes, it was definitely meant for her. I hope you feel better, Kimmy C.
She's sick?
The hell is a co-op community? It's like gay hopping with old people veggies. Oh my God, Ash. Old people and veggies. God. No, Ash. It's kind of. I mean, not really. It's co-oping is like where they live, like farm to table. They all take care of each other. All their food comes from the little compound. Like their school is right in the little place. They do holistic medicine versus Western medicine, all of that kind of stuff. So I could see how it would be helpful in a lot of ways. But
it would be way more helpful if that's what we did more often. It's just not.
It's not as big.
Yeah, we don't do that.
No. So tomorrow night we'll probably do a part 2 on Stephanie's channel, but I want to talk about everything else tomorrow night because I want to show you guys the video of the death, and I want to show the interview of her in prison, but my video maker kept crashing today, and I was like,
That
okay, well
video,
then,
mm, you all are not
mm,
ready to see that video. It is.
yeah, it's really sad. Hey, Lanky Tour, how you doing? Love you.
Lanky. It's the saddest thing
So
ever.
it
Mm.
is really sad, and I want to make sure that we do it. Like, I want to do it right. I want to be able to show you guys everything about it. I can't play the video with the sound and all that because I just don't want to get struck, obviously. And I'm sure I will if I use the sound. And I want to put the video together of her interview too, because you'll just see how cold she is. Like, she's just doesn't. All she keeps talking about is herself. Like, I didn't do this. Me, 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 me. So I want to show you guys that tomorrow night, probably around the same time. Kind of, Raquel. Yeah. I mean, kind of. Yeah,
Okay,
kind
let me
of.
see. Hold on. I'm gonna quit sharing my screen and come back to the comments
I
because
love you, Lanky.
let me talk to them for a minute. It's the saddest thing
Yeah.
in the world, but I do think that it's important to talk about things
Hey,
like this
Don.
because I didn't know. I knew the word, but I didn't know a whole lot about how this disease or what. Like, I didn't know a whole lot about it before this.
Yeah, there's a lot to this, and there's way more people. I actually have some other Munchausen cases to talk about too after this. Not this week, but just through the month of October. Well, we can do it whenever, but specifically for this month, there's so many cases that never even got any attention except for like locally wherever. But and there's even a dad that had Munchausen, which I didn't even know was possible. But I found a dad that has Munchausen, that had Munchausen, and he would make his kids sick and then kill them for the insurance money. So they actually put him in the same category as Munchausen.
I wonder if there's ever been, this might be a stupid question, but has there ever been
April.
a case where this has been like diagnosed before it's went too far?
Oh, there are kids that are the Kathy Bush case. Her daughter's still alive, and as soon as she got away from her, she started doing well. There are kids that are still alive, not many, but there are some cases where they catch it and get the kids away from it, and the moms just get like attempted murder and stuff. We can talk about one of them too. And I can talk about the gypsy case. The reason I didn't start off with that is because I feel like everybody's done that, but we can talk about it later on in the month for sure. I just didn't want to do that one because I didn't want to start out with that one because everybody else had done that one. But yeah, Gypsy. Yeah, well, look, yeah, Gypsy. Well, I mean, she did kill her mom, so it went too far, but she's still alive. And then there's some that the kids are doing well. They didn't kill, they got out of that situation, but doctors are really hesitant to call it in as that. They're really, really hesitant. So
It's hard.
it's because
so
if you're
hard.
wrong,
Like
yeah, if you're wrong,
worst case, last case scenario that you ever want to think that the person that is bringing the child into you to fix them is the one that's causing that problem to happen.
I know.
It's such a difficult. Thank God it's like really rare because I don't even know how rare it is. I just don't hear about it a lot. So I'm assuming that it's rare, but it's just it's such a difficult situation.
Yeah, Raquel, I'd love to hear it. Hey, Pugs Washing. Hope you're well. Thank you, Gone Girl. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is a difficult situation. And if it's misdiagnosed, you're breaking up a family. The kid's not going to get what they need. And if you're wrong, the kid could die. Like, that's a lot. That they
Hey,
need
Gone
to
Girl.
make it. I don't know.
I
It's
put a
so hard.
community
Hey,
post
boss.
for you on my page the other day. I didn't know if you've seen it or not, but I wanted to let you know.
Breaking the silence. I do like the cases too that don't get as much attention. I mean, I'll talk about Gypsy. I know a lot about that case just from watching it all, but there are so many that didn't make it to like big documentaries and all that. I mean, they might have like one 2020 episode or something about it, but or a write up in the local newspaper, but they didn't get like that much attention. And I like it because I have to dig for the information. It took me all day just to find what I did about her childhood. Like there was
like,
not a lot.
That about like this. I'd never. I know I've said this, but I've never heard of anything like this before. Now it's just mind-boggling to me. You know, I would. There's tons of cases, but talking about something like this that's so, I don't even know a word for it. So sad and tragic. Obviously, all cases are, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really sad when it's involving a child. The mom trying to, the mom's the one that's harming them. And this one, they drop off so many times. I mean, why wouldn't Florida, if the cops were getting, because they said FCPS, they're not doing nothing. And the people from the town started calling, the cops in Florida and asking for help. They had a child abuse, they had a child abuse thing, like a little thing, like a little, what's it called? Oh my God. A little child abuse unit on it. And so why wouldn't they say, she kind of skipped town. She wouldn't let us do our interviews or anything. Maybe you guys could catch up with her.
It doesn't transfer jurisdiction. That's another good reason to move the way that she moved so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it transfers jurisdiction like that.
I guess not. And that's super sad.
If you call CPS, like if I call CPS tomorrow and say, this baby's sick all the time, and I think that the mom's making it sick, but how did they even prove that? It's even hard.
I don't know.
It's not like he had
a
blue face, No.
No. No. And I also have an interview with a friend that I want to play. The friend, and this is actually like this is actually backed up by social media posts that she posted, okay, where Lacey had she had told Garnet, like, don't play with the spigot of the water, and he did. So she gave that baby a freezing cold bath, and when he cried, she held him down underwater, under cold water, held his head underwater. And everybody thought the friend was lying until they dug into her social media, and they found a post where she was like, tonight I snapped, I yelled at my kid, I hit my kid, and I held his head underwater. And I not only let my baby down, but I let myself down and my friend down. And the friend thought that she was just, like a new mom and freaking out because he was still really little at this time.
He was even willing to talk about the abuse in public to get attention.
Yeah, and the friend had, like,
holy shit,
taking Garnet from her for the day, and then she went back to talk to her and felt like she was sincere with her apology and just had a bad moment. The friend witnessed it, and it was on social media, and she held his head underwater. I'm going to share that interview tomorrow with you guys.
Yeah, and she said in it, like, I was just having a bad moment. All moms have a moment. She's like, no, not that. No, that's not just having a moment. What are you talking about? Like, no.
Yes, all moms freak out. All moms get overwhelmed. And then that lady, she kind of sounded like Foxy Bot, Foxy, like the Gator lady. That's what the friend sounded like. And actually, I can play the interview tonight before we go because it's not that long. It's only like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
So I can play that tonight.
And even when she did that, he couldn't have been very old. I don't know if she even said in the clip, but he was never very old. You know what I mean?
He only made it to 5.
Older. That doesn't even matter. But
he wasn't very old.
Bitty kid. It's a little bitty kid that you're having a moment to the point that you need to push his head under the water. Mm-hmm. You're so angry. They're going to push his head under the water.
Yeah.
What?
I'm going to show you guys this. It's a real, oh my God. It's just, it's because I kind of was even leery because, whenever something like this happens, people come out of the woodwork. Then I was watching something else totally unrelated to that. It was like a different thing. And they said, that the post has since been erased, but she had made a post on social media about it. I was like, I'll be damned. That was true. Like,
I
here I
think that
was.
kind of thing's way worse nowadays, though, with social media.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Yeah.
things were more authentic because if you were searching it out to go and call into the show or whatever, you probably had that reason to go and do it, not clout or whatever other weird reason somebody would lie about it nowadays.
Yeah. I got it pulled up. I'm just letting it load. It's a
Yeah, she is
really,
GPS initially, and then moved however many times after that to run away
yeah, she
somewhere.
moved from Alabama to Florida, from Florida to New York. So there were big moves, like huge moves. And that was only in a little 5-year period, like that's not a lot of years to make that many big moves. Most people make one big move like that a
When
year,
you're
if you're, I
taking
mean,
a
a
child
lifetime.
when you're taking a child 28 times to the doctor, by the time that they're 1 year old, it doesn't
Yeah,
take
the
very
hospital.
long to get too much attention on you, and need to move.
Yeah. All right. So here's this. This is the former friend. And there was, like I said, there was a post to back this
Hey,
up.
Jerome.
Back to Anonymous. And our exclusive interview with a woman who was close friends with Lacey and Garnet. Was this woman an incredible actress? I mean, she is obviously capable of getting a huge following on social media. You saw a lot of the posts, pray for him and my little angel, my little prince. What was it about her that allowed her to snow you, in your opinion?
Yes, in front of people, she was the perfect looking mother. She bought the kids toys. You can see pictures on Facebook. She bought them toys. She did take them to parties. She did things, but I think behind closed doors, she did bad things. And as far as him going to see so many, being in the hospital so many times before his birthday, she went to multiple hospitals. It ain't like she went to one hospital and they admitted him 23 times. She went to multiple hospitals, got multiple doctors to do different things because one doctor, would not do all that.
Let me ask you this, Anonymous. I know it's easy to play armchair quarterback, and now you obviously feel betrayed. But looking back in retrospect, were there signs? Were there suspicious things that now you go, aha?
Well, yes, there was one incident that, that happened, and I regret not calling CPS. I just took the child out of the situation, left with them, went back in a few hours, and thought the girl was overwhelmed. I hate to get into exactly what that was.
Say that again. You said, say it again.
There was an incident where she kind of lost control with Garnet. I intervened, took Garnet away, left for hours, come back. She apologized to me, to him. She sincerely seemed sorry. So I did not call CPS or anything, and she never did anything.
She lost it. How did she lose it? How did she lose it?
I hate to say, she was giving him a bath, and basically he was flying because the water was cold, and she was dumping it on his head, and she held him down in the bathtub. And
my God!
I had to jump on her and get her off of him and get him dry, and left with him. Left for hours with him.
It was almost like she was trying to drown him there, according to you.
Yes, and she told me at that time, she said, you cannot tell me that you've never lost it with your kids. And I said, yes, ma'am, I can tell you I've never lost it with either one of my kids like that. That's not normal.
This woman, Lacey Spears, 26, accused of murdering that adorable, precious little boy, age 5, Garnet. We're talking exclusively with a former friend who feels that she was snowed. She's devastated. She feels betrayed. And she just revealed to us here for the first time that she witnessed this woman putting her son's head underwater when she, quote, lost it. And you jumped on him and saved him, it sounds like. Now, we can't independently confirm that, obviously, but you heard it here just a second ago. And I want to go back to Anonymous. you had something else you were telling our producer in the break about the son and food and how he trusted you apparently with food, but not his own mother. Tell us about that.
Well, her claim was that he would not eat, therefore the feeding tube. But the boy never, ever had problems eating with me. He ate everything from chicken nuggets, french fries to, we're country, so we eat fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and okra. And never did I feed him through a feeding tube. He ate food in his mouth.
And what about the mom? Would he eat the mother's food? Did she prepare food and would he eat it?
I don't think she tried to give it to him. I think she always wanted to just give him, the feeding tube stuff.
In other words, you're suggesting that she only wanted to feed him through a feeding tube? I mean, you're a close friend. Did you ever see her whip up food for him? Or was it always, did you ever see her do this feeding tube thing?
Yes, I saw her do the feeding tube thing.
And she'd stick the tube down his throat?
No, hon. It goes straight in his stomach. And you can either do it one or two ways. You can do it with a plunger or you can do it with a machine. And she's done it both ways. And just to be real honest with you, she did that correctly in front of me. But as far as giving him food, like, you would give a toddler or a child or whatever. The only thing that I never seen her like prepare a meal for him. She would give him like maybe snacks or finger foods or something, but not like me. I would go out and get fast food's not the best thing to feed a child, but I would go and get fast food for him, or we would eat with my family and we would eat a regular dinner.
Get home style without the hassle by ordering.
That was the end of the interview, but there was more that come out after that, by the way, that there was a post and all that.
She didn't even want to say it. She wanted to say there was an incident, but she didn't even want to go into what it was because she didn't call at the time because of how bad it really was and that she should have called. Do you think that was the Kim lady possibly? No.
I don't know because I'm not sure. They said anonymous or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't say her name. I don't know because they didn't give an exact age, so you couldn't.
Definitely knew she should have called after that. She was like, I don't want to say it, and she did not want to say it because it was so like shocking or whatever about the lady. She didn't want to say it because it was so bad that she should have called then,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like I said, there was a post that
she would jump on her head.
Yeah. Can you imagine just walking in and your friend giving this little kid a cold bath because he played with the spigot, which all kids do, and holding his head underwater, or being out to eat with a kid that has eating problems and then the mom shoving hot salsa in their mouth. Like she was brave. She did that around her friends.
Barely above a baby age when this happened, probably. Barely above a baby age.
Yeah, because, he was only 5 when he died. So, I mean, he couldn't have been too old. So, we'll finish tomorrow night. I guess we could do it on your panel tomorrow night to do part 2. I want to make sure that there's a lot that happens at the fellowship and with the end, and I want to make sure we get show the video of him. I mean, you actually watch him fucking suffer right before he dies. Yeah. You see the feeding tube. Terrible. It's terrible. She has the feeding tube in her shirt. You see it, and you see her walk her to the bathroom because they say, you're going to get to go home, and she doesn't want to go home. She wants attention. And then as he's dying, she's Googling salt poisoning and how much it takes to die as he's dying. You see her on her phone. They lined it up with the Google searches. Yes.
The cop, I don't know, the detective, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
He said this is the worst thing I've ever had to witness.
Yeah.
In all of my years. He was like, this tops anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah. It was a really bad case.
I don't think that she banked on there being a video of that at all.
No. And I don't want to tell too much, but Cops
Yeah.
didn't even know that there was a video of it.
No,
Like
they did not.
they actually were talking to somebody else where they were like, interviewing after the death. And they said, did you know that they do videos on these machines and video? And they said the video, and then there was a video for the whole fucking stay. And you actually see this little boy digging his head. Yes, like he's digging his head into the bed. And when you're in pain and you just clench up and put your head down, and I'm just warning y'all, just be ready. It's really fucking bad. You actually witness him. And his head actually swelled up from the salt. Like when he was dying, his head actually swelled up. Yeah, from his brain getting so big. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
I don't know. I didn't do. It says on his death certificate, homicide. Like, oh, you're a monster.
I know you're a fucking. She is a monster. Like, she is a legit fucking monster. There's no other way around it. She's a monster. She's evil. She's attention seeking, and she's been that way her whole life. And I think that makes
like this. You see what signs to look for and stuff, because it's just it's a phenomenon that's mind-boggling. I know I've said that 10 times, but it just is.
It really is. Like, there's no other words. There really is. And here, all she was worried about was, she was posting as her kid is dying. She's posting, and I have these posts. Like, a lot of her posts are hard to find. Yeah, I have the post
when he passed away.
Right when let me see. I have it actually marked. Helen. I even have. Oh yeah, I do have a picture of her mom. I couldn't find a picture.
I can't look at this unbiasedly. Like, I can't.
No.
After seeing that video, it's just like. And then to see that video, to see what happens, and then to see the post, right? Fuck off. That's her mom?
Yeah, that's her mom. Hey, Sandy. That's her mom. That I couldn't find pictures of, like, I'll show you guys her sister too.
Has her siblings ever talked or anything about this?
No. No, not that I could find. I'm still going to look tomorrow because I could have missed something. I was, I might not put the right words in, but I didn't
do much today, but
I don't feel like, I feel like nobody, like, I know that her dad did help with, because she was going to get away with it until her dad said something that I don't want to blow for tomorrow, but her dad did help when he came, like, he didn't mean to. That's the craziest part. He didn't even mean to help. Like,
yeah, this whole kind of situation, especially the way that she was doing it, is just so hard to diagnose and prove, and it's so elusive. Yeah. She didn't get away with it. So.
No, she didn't. She didn't get away with it. And that's the good part. Look at this little boy. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys another picture of him. I just want to show you guys examples of what she does. So this is her every time. It wouldn't be like she would wait, because I know I posted a lot on social media when my kids were little. Everybody probably did. But that wasn't my first thought. As soon as something would happen, she would be like, showing off his new IV. Like, what? Like, right when he would get it. I mean, the doctors would get it in and she would take a picture. But
she was, what they didn't know at the time is she's taking him there so they'll insert the IV so she can take the picture to put on social media.
Yes, so that she can get that pity, so she can get that, poor me shit that she got. I just, this is one of those cases that you'll never forget after you hear about it.
And okay, we'll go ahead and get off here. There's a whole lot more tomorrow.
Oh yeah, here's Blake. Hold on, we've been talking about Blake before we get off of here. I mean, you can go if you have to go. Here's Blake. Here's Blake. He's very much well and alive. He had no idea she was telling people that, by the way. There's Blake.
Oh, so he never even knew.
No, it's Lacey Spears. Yeah,
that he was Blake. Supposed to be
dead.
The dad and dead.
Yeah, both. That's Blake. Yeah, he's supposed to be the dad. And he was never even intimate with her. He was very strict on his Southern beliefs and all of that. I
It is
also
a
do have
little
her
weird
Twitter.
that he's a police officer, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the person that she used to kind of be obsessed with.
Yeah, like she got weirdly obsessed. She wanted to have his baby so bad. I have her Twitter, which we can go over tomorrow too, because there's only a little bit of this case left, but there's a lot, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Look at him. He's just so precious.
Yeah,
Ugh,
because just in the day that he passed away, like that.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
I have the Twitter to go over tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll go over the Twitter. We will watch the videos
And see,
and we
that's
will
why
talk
people
about the
fell
time of
for it.
fellowship.
You hear her ask that girl on the interview, the anonymous friend. She was
Uh-huh.
like, "How did she like swindle you all in all the time?" But it's because her whole social media was all of this shit. Her with her kid, her taking care of her kid, her taking care of a sick kid, her with her kid with all these kids and all their toys, and so they had a picture of her that she wanted them to see that she betrayed on social media.
Right.
They didn't know her,
Yep.
like, you know what I mean?
No, they didn't. They didn't know the real. Nobody knows the real her. They still don't. They still fucking don't. So I
I don't
don't
even
know.
think she does.
Hey, Adequate. It's crazy.
But we'll
It's
finish it up
okay, Adequate.
tomorrow, same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah,
different
around the
place.
same time we'll finish it up. Yeah, we'll do it over at Stephanie's. I'll post it on my community tab, and it's gonna be tomorrow's probably just like have your tissues ready because there is the video, and like I've never actually seen a video of somebody
Okay.
actively dying, and it's a baby.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to watch. But we'll go over the Twitter, and I have some other little stuff that I want to talk about tomorrow too. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's been bye. It's been as fun as it can be, but bye.
Good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.